Yeah, it's Rob here again. Today we're going to have a look at one of the most handy things that you can have in the workshop, and what a tool that most people have probably got, and that's the old G-clamp. And over the years you sort of accumulate these old girls, and I've got them going from small little ones here right through up to big old heavy jobs here. They've all come from flea markets and garage sales. I never pay more than a couple of bucks for them, but they're handy things. And while they're one of the most handy things you can have, they're also at times one of the most frustrating, because even though they're good for some things, they're not so good for clamping other things. And I'll show you an alternative that you can use for the situations where G-clamps really can cause you some grief. So, okay, I'll give you a heads up on what I do when the G-clamp doesn't really do the job. In this instance, I'll show you where the G-clamp can be a bit of a nuisance, and that is that due to the movable head on the screw section, if you want to clamp into the thing, it's good. I mean, it's good on flat stuff. Clamping flat to flat, you know, generally it's pretty good. But when you go flat to round, or if you're trying to clamp on the edge of something thin, as you screw that screw up, it will, unless you get it absolutely dead center, it will want to pull one way. You know, that screw will sometimes want to come off the edge of the thing. You can see how it's, you know, it's twisting there. And if I was to say clamp these together, say you were doing a welding job or something and you couldn't get locking pliers on, as you're screwing it, you see that the screw is wanting to push off center, because as you screw this, so the head is turning and it's twisting that head section. If you get it lined up dead right, you can get away with it quite often, but everything's got to be perfect, and you know, it's a nuisance. It can be a real pain. Even when you get it lined up dead right, when you put a bit of pressure on it, it'll start to want to pull one way. So G-clamps are great for some things, but not for some things like this. There is an alternative, and people don't always think of it, and I'll show you what it is. And it basically use a wood clamp. So rather than use a metal clamp, well, I mean, G-clamps I suppose are multi-purpose, but these are a type of clamp that was originally made for woodwork. And you can lock them in any position, have them any length. Get one of these, use a short piece of pipe in it, and the beauty of these is that there's no twisting action. So as you screw up the clamp, everything stays parallel, and by avoiding that twisting action, it won't want to screw off of the job that you're clamping. So these are quite strong, and yeah, they can be quite handy. We'll clamp up something here. Oops, get on there, little devil. I mean, this is a bit of scrap steel, and it just pulls up absolutely perfectly. So there you go. It's just a quick tip to show you that these can be a very handy little item. They're cheap to buy. You get them in pairs normally. Well, you can probably buy them singly. But you know, I've got quite a few sets of these around for doing woodwork, tabletop snap, but put a short bit of pipe in, and they just screw on, and you can have them on any length of pipe you want. So the whole thing is totally able to be dismantled, and you just make your clamp whatever length you want. So there you go. It's really for woodwork, but it's handy when you're doing metalwork. And quite often, you know, when I'm using a puller on something, say trying to break a ball joint taper in a suspension arm, and those jaws on the puller will want to spread, you can just put one of these either side of the jaws, tighten it up, and that'll keep them in position while you're turning the puller bolt to break the ball joint taper. So yeah, they're very handy. So there's a good tip for you. People don't always think about it, and yeah, it'll get you out of trouble and make life a lot more pleasant when you're working on round stuff. Okay, see you next time.